It's time now for County-Wide, a presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. You'll hear about the interesting issues and happenings that affect all our lives. Here's today's County-Wide.
Good day, and once again, welcome to County-Wide. I'm Brad Miller, and we're happy to welcome into the studio today Monica Buckle with Verde Valley Archeology Center, verdevalleyarcheology.org. You'll want to remember that because it's a terrific website. I was studying up on you and the center a little bit earlier, so we say, Monica, good morning to you.
Well, good morning back to you, Brad, and thank you for having me as a guest. It's a privilege.
Your title there is?
Executive Director.
Succeeding the terrific Ken Zoll.
Absolutely. Okay. And Ken Zoll, his title is Executive Director Emeritus.
Okay.
So he will still have a relationship with the museum, and as should be, what he contributed to the museum. He was the founder and the director for the last 12 years. Right. And he also was the first modern-day person to publish the archaeoastronomy findings here in the Verde Valley. So it's wonderful what he's done for archaeology and studying these ancestral Hopi sites and the archaeoastronomy involved with that.
Where it continues. Ken is a friend to Yavapai Broadcasting, was on this show any number of times over the years. Let me just ask you this then, as that torch passes. The Archeology Center is going very, very strong. That website I highly recommend to folks interested in the history of our community. But just why is archaeology still important?
Well, one must know your history. And it's imperative that we go forward as stewards to this land. The original inhabitants still have descendant communities and tribes here in Arizona. The Verde Valley region has been always an intersection, trade routes, meeting points, and so forth. And the ancestral Hopi, known as the Hisasanome, other people use the Spanish word Sinagua to identify this group. This was their territory, and it actually is still considered their territory. They have sacred sites all throughout the Verde Valley they still go to for blessings. And right now, as we know, they live up at the mesas in northern Arizona. So it's always wonderful to be mindful of the land you're on. And if we're all so into the environment and taking care, especially with the Verde River, everyone's really mindful of what's going on. Yeah. And especially if you know that this is sacred land for many tribes. And in addition, the Yavapai and the Apache tribe, this is their territories as well. So it's just always good to have that in mind.
We think, most people, I think, if you say archaeology,
yes,
the image that is conjured is finding relics, pot shards, things like that. But really, archaeology is the study of people through things, physical objects and habitats that they've left behind. Is that right?
Well, it's kind of anthropology, the study of people, where you meet archaeology, the study of objects and civilizations and groups of people and communities. And the Verde Valley Archeology Center, our mission is really and truly to conserve, preserve, and educate. And there's such a lure with archaeology. It's fascinating. It's interesting going through the different layers of time to uncover things from the distant past. However, because Arizona is so abundant with these fragile sites, it's really important to spread the message of conservation and preservation. So if you're out on a hike or here on a trail in Cottonwood and you come across pottery sherds, just leave it.
Yeah.
And kind of like that thought with hikers and outdoor enthusiasts, leave no trace. And as we like to say, visit with respect.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Would someone, if they find something like that, should they call that in and report it, or is it just likely that it's already been found many, many times?
Yes, that's a really good question, because we'll get calls at the center, and it's wonderful that people want to know, well, what's the right thing to do in this situation? And really the right thing to do is just leave it in place.
Okay.
And we just want sites to be intact and what have you. And so that's usually the best way to go about it. Visit with respect. If you see something, obviously, if it's more than just a pottery shard, if it's something you think a bit more substantial, by all means, call or email the museum, and we'd be happy to take the inquiry and investigate a bit further.
Sure. It seems our guest just earlier this week, Nancy Steele with Friends of the Verde River.
Yes.
And talked about how important the Verde River is today and the needs for its protection. But it seems to me that river is exactly the reason, probably one of many, but a huge reason why any of us settled, especially 12,000, 11,000 years ago.
Right, exactly. Water, water, water.
Yeah.
And this is really relevant today with everything going on with the Colorado River, the droughts, Lake Mead, Lake Powell. It's ever more at the forefront is people and animals and wildlife and plants. It's always water. And what's so wonderful about this region is we have Beaver Creek, we have the Verde River, and then we have Oak Creek. And in fact, the museum, we have different conservancy sites that we steward alongside our partner organization, the Archeological Conservancy, which is based in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Okay.
So we have several sites here in the region that we steward on behalf of the Conservancy. And one of them, Brad, is actually a prominent site on the confluence of the Verde River and Oak Creek.
Okay. Yeah. Well, today we think about things that attract people here. Those of us who are fortunate to live here, there's a lot about it, kind of the rural lifestyle, the farm ranch. Visitors enjoy the restaurants and the wine, and of course, all the natural and scenic beauty. But you think back to those first people, probably many of them didn't even wear shoes or had primitive tools. The earliest of our ancestors, there was something very attractive as well to them, and that river is a prime piece of that.
Well, absolutely. And Brad, if you do visit the museum, we have the Dyke Cliff Dwelling Collection, and we have 3 galleries devoted to the Dyke Cliff Dwelling Collection. And it's about 80,000 objects, textiles, and remnants from the ancestral Hopi who lived here. And we have several shoes in that collection. And these sandals are made from yucca fiber and cordage. And if anyone's familiar with a Roman-style gladiatorial sandal, it kind of ropes up in that effect.
Okay.
So we have several shoes on display and sandals made from yucca. Another thing is, as you had mentioned, is that the river was just so abundant, especially during monsoon season. And this region was famous for its own variety of cotton that was grown by the ancestral Hopi.
Really?
You have Pima cotton, that was grown down in the Phoenix, Maricopa region. And Pima Indians, they have a different name for themselves now. So that's where Pima cotton comes from.
Okay.
And this cotton that was grown here was one of the many trade items for the ancestral Hopi. And that's on an exhibit in our textile gallery. We have beautiful weavings, textiles, dyed textiles, textiles with different pattern and intricate designs on display that are approximately 1,100 years old.
Yeah, extraordinary. These were gathered over time through just being discovered, how did you acquire all this stuff?
Well, thank you. So this all started with Paul Dyke. Paul Dyke was a famous Western painter, and he amassed a really wonderful following in the art world and managed to acquire a 300-acre working ranch in Rimrock, right on Beaver Creek, so just a stone's throw away from where we're talking right now. Yeah. And on his property, there were several cliff dwellings, and these cliff dwellings were never looted, never pot hunted, which is wonderful. And Paul Dyke, even though he wasn't an archaeologist or an anthropologist, saw how unique this was and wanted to make sure that the matter within these dwellings was kept intact and there was a proper excavation done. Today, we try not to do excavations due to tribal policies and procedures. However, back in the 70s, an excavation was done with several archaeologists and everything was recorded. And so Paul Dyke had this massive collection of textiles, pottery, everyday domestic tools, seeds. We have 30,000 amaranth seeds in the collection. So this was just so unique because it was just a glimpse into the everyday domestic life of someone who lived here approximately 1,100 years ago. And so Paul Dyke, his estate, the Paul Dyke Foundation Research Institution of American Indian Culture, inherited this collection. Several large institutions here in the U.S. wanted this collection.
I have to wonder, along the timeline of archaeology, and not just here in the Southwest, but worldwide,
yes,
how many Paul Dykes there are, how many individual heroes who were not compelled necessarily for legal or whatever reasons, just knew what they had come across was important, should be preserved, and should be properly assigned to whomever can caretake for it.
Well, this is it.
It's incredible.
There are several mindful people, just like Paul Dyke, who wanted the archaeological matter intact, not divided, not sold at auction, not sold on the black market at premium prices. He was so protective of this because he had close kinship with the different native tribes in Arizona and the Hopi as well, the Pueblo in New Mexico. And so the Paul Dyke Foundation Research Institution saw Kenzel's progress with the Verde Valley Archeology Center and were tracking it and thought, well, why don't we leave it to the Verde Valley Archeology Center? They're our neighbors. They're right here down the road from Rimrock in Camp Verde. Yeah. And how beautiful is it to have such an important, significant collection locally and not sent to D.C., or Chicago or New York, to have this locally where these objects were made and created.
Yeah, it's terrific. A real, I want to say a real get for the center, but really for the people of our area and visitors. VerdeValleyArcheology.org, terrific website representing I can't speak today. The Verde Valley Archaeology Center, and the director is Monica Buckle. We'll come back to Countywide right after this.
Your neighborhood Jackson Hewitt Tax Service for over 25 years and continues to serve the communities in northern Arizona. Jackson Hewitt is here to help you file your personal taxes. As laws and situations change, your local Jackson Hewitt Tax Service professional stays updated to serve you. Drop off or make an in-person appointment. In Flagstaff, call 213-8626. That's 213-8626. That's 213-8626.
The award-winning experts at Verde Solar Services offer the trusted Carrier products that help you customize a solution to fit your budget. Verde Solar is a family-owned business serving the Verde Valley for 38 years with the Carrier products you can rely on. Carrier AC systems are trusted to bring energy-efficient, quiet, consistent comfort. Call 928-567-5315 for a free assessment of your AC and air quality needs. Verde Solar Services, online at verdesolar.com, a factory-authorized Carrier dealer.
Don't let concerns about today's events derail your long-term financial strategy. Hi, I'm Edward Jones Financial Advisor, Matthias Sandoval, and I'm here to help. We can work together to understand the impact of these events and make sure your goals are top of mind. While you can't control the market volatility, we'll focus on what you can control. We can connect in several virtual ways. Start by giving me a call at 634-1044.
Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
Again, it is Countywide. I'm Brett Miller. Happy you're with us today. And from the Verde Valley Archaeology Center, Executive Director Monica Buckle is here. One more time, VerdeValleyArcheology.org. Take a look, even as you're listening to us talk right now. Terrific website. Well done. Easy to navigate. I learned in a 5-minute read, I think, more about kind of some of the history of the early peoples of our area than I had known previously. So don't delay there. But more importantly, when you get a chance, visit the Verde Valley Archeology Center. Before we wrap today, we'll talk a little bit about hours of operation and location, things like that. Something you said, Monica, in our first piece, no excavations. To me, that means no digging. But every now and again, we'll hear most famously, and not again just in our area, a construction project of some kind is happening, but a discovery is made, and there's a protocol when that happens.
Oh, absolutely. And thank you for bringing this up because as modern day archaeology evolves and tribal consultation is further relied upon, we try to just do survey work. And with the development here in Arizona, especially in this region, the roads going in, the infrastructure, we're coming across things all the time.
Right.
Our director of archaeology, Catherine Turney, she's wonderful. She also is involved with private archaeology firms. And so much of the work is just surveying what's here, what's going on, and if there's anything significant, then tribal consultation is brought in.
Okay.
There's so much protocol involved, and of course, we understand that there's infrastructure, there's other parties that need to get things done, projects completed with certain deadlines. However, in Arizona, it's to be expected that you're going to come across something.
Sure. What is one thing or a collection of things that people misunderstand about archaeology in general, or perhaps your center or specifically your work here in this area?
Sure. Well, I think the thing that can be a little bit misunderstood, and rightfully so, is that my vision for this museum, that was Ken's vision, is to make archaeology accessible to everyone, anyone, regardless of your background, education level, what you do or don't know about archaeology. Anything can be intimidating if you're not familiar with the subject. And so many people have a love of history, have a love of archaeology, or going on to television shows and checking this out.
Right.
And you had mentioned previously Indiana Jones. And so this museum really is a community-based museum. We love to welcome the public. We have incredible volunteers. We have a docent, which is a tour guide, on duty every day that the museum is open. And there is not one stupid question a person can ask.
I'll bet I could ask one.
No, well, maybe. But like I said, I think that's so essential for museums to move forward that there's not this barrier.
Right.
It can be intimidating for people, and we're just a really friendly space. We have a children's adventure room with a 3D archaeology dig, which is really fun. So if you have a family, bring them into the museum. All of our admission prices are under $10. We're free for veterans, and we're also free for Native Americans as well.
Okay. When we come back in our final segments, I want to get specific with some the website we've given, but things like that as well. Can there come a point where it's like, well, there's a famous quote, I don't know if it's true or not, in like the 1920s, I want to say, an infamous quote from the guy who was, I believe, the director of the U.S. Patent Office, wanted to close that office because he said everything that's been invented has been invented. Does there ever, and of course that was ridiculous then and is even more so today. But does there come a point where we've kind of done all this. We've looked at these sites, we've kind of found examples of probably everything, or does archaeology, even in a fixed setting like the Verde Valley, take different shapes over time and evolve and grow over time?
Well, absolutely. I mean, King Solomon said there's nothing new under the sun, and that always holds true. However, what archaeology has neglected as a field of study, and anthropology as well, is the exclusion of the tribes, specifically here in North America. There's always been a barrier. There's always been a sense of we don't need to consult with the tribes. and this is their heritage.
Yeah.
They know best what these objects are.
Sure.
We can only come to an assumption. And for example, a couple of weeks ago, we had a group of Hopi elders visit the museum. We toured them through our repository, our collection center, took them through the gallery space, and there were several objects on display that were misinterpreted.
No kidding.
Yes.
And this just happened.
And this just recently happened. So the thing is we're looking from our eyes, our perspectives, and our sense of place. And as a citizen of the Cherokee Nation of Oklahoma, my mother's heritage, I'm so mindful of looking through another's eye and looking through another's culture. Even though I'm Cherokee, I can't speak to the cultures here in Arizona because it's not my territory. Mm-hmm. So it's so important to have tribal involvement, not just consultation, but really building relationships with the tribes, because this is their heritage and they know exactly what these items are. Sometimes they may want to share with us what they are. Sometimes they're ceremonial objects that are still used today, and it can't be discussed with people who aren't initiated into certain societies.
Okay.
So you're always so careful of how you navigate certain situations. So in that effect, yes, everything's been recorded, documented, but with the technology now and
Sure.
the sonar, the radar, everything where you don't have to excavate, you can just scan the ground and find out what's under the earth and so on and so forth. So with the technology and now just the involvement with the tribes, it's just we're going to make huge leaps.
Yeah. It's astounding. Isn't that something? Okay, let's do this. We need to take another little short break. You got me rolling here. We could probably do another hour, and at some point
I would love that, Brad.
We will, but we need to do a short break here. We'll come back, and we'll get you some more of that information about how you specifically can become a part of the Verde Valley Archeology family. Perhaps you're through resources or volunteerism or just visiting. Our guest is Executive Director of the Center, and that's Monica Buckle. We'll take a short break. Countywide's back right after this.
Life changes, then it changes again. Predicting the unexpected in life is impossible. That's why it's called unexpected. So when it comes to financial goals, our philosophy is don't predict, prepare. Hi, I'm Edward Jones financial advisor Matthias Sandoval. A job loss, change in health, or a loss of a loved one can have a big impact on your family's financial security. Let's work together to help make sure you're equipped for life's unexpected events. Call our office to schedule a face-to-face appointment.
Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
Verde Solaire, your hometown heating, air conditioning, and plumbing company in the Verde Valley for 38 years, and your trusted North Central Arizona Goodman dealer. Goodman is a name you can trust, designed, engineered, and built in the USA. Verde Solaire offers free in-home estimates on systems that are quiet and affordable. Verde Solaire is locally owned since 1983 and available for all your heating, air conditioning, and plumbing needs. Call 928-567-5315. Visit them online at verdesolaire.com. Better, cleaner, faster.
Taxes.
It's that time again. This is Lewis with Rice Accounting Jackson Hewitt Tax Service. We don't sell cars, we don't do hair or wait tables. We do taxes. At Jackson Hewitt Tax Service, we talk taxes and we prepare taxes. Open year-round for tax filings. Jackson Hewitt Tax Service, located throughout northern Arizona. For over 20 years, our local preparers have helped neighbors pay their fair share and no more.
Jackson Hewitt Tax Service in the Tri-Cities at 772-7872. That's 772-7872.
Welcome back to the program, Countywide. Brad Miller with you, and Monica Buckle has been our guest this morning, and she is the Executive Director of the Verde Valley Archeology Center. Again, the website, verdevalleyarcheology.org. Take a look, and you'll be compelled to go visit the center yourself, because it's all there, very comprehensive and handy, helpful website. Some things are coming up on the calendar.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Brad. We have a terrific fall lineup of events, activities, and classes. One of the things as a museum, we just want to offer our members so many wonderful resources. And individual membership for the museum starts at $40. We have one of the lowest membership rates in Arizona because I just would love it to be accessible to people. Our lectures are free for members. And we have, for example, our pottery identification course with Dr. Jim Graceffa. It's a several series course that's fully booked up. However, we have on Wednesday, October the 12th, we have a Dia de los Muertos storytelling and lecture with Zarco Guerrero. He's a wonderful mask maker and performance artist. It's free for members. However, you can come. I believe it's about $5 to $10 a ticket. The website has more information.
Yep.
And on Saturday, October the 15th, we have our Fall for Archeology, our annual event. That one is tickets required. We have past hors d'oeuvres from Moscato in Camp Verde, a wine tasting from Salt Wine in Camp Verde. Grammy-nominated musician Aaron White, a native flute artist. We have silent auction with several wonderful items and so many more things to go. Also coming up in November, we have a Native American artist holiday market on Saturday, November the 12th.
Are these detailed on the website?
Everything is on the website. Go to verdevalleyarcheology.org. We also have several lectures and member hikes. We do several hikes that are free to members throughout the region. We have wonderful guides that take people out on hikes. And like I said, lectures and classes. So just please visit our website as well as our Facebook to stay tuned for community events.
Outstanding. We appreciate that. Again, verdevalleyarcheology.org. Terrific website. You'll find about everything Monica was talking about there, and a ticket to learning some things about yourself by learning about who came before us in this area. Monica Buckle, Verde Valley Archaeology Center. I'm Brad Miller. It's Countywide, and we'll see you next time.
This has been Countywide. Listen in each Tuesday and Thursday at this time. If you have a topic or guest idea that you'd like to suggest, email us, news@myradioplace.com.